Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Someone wrote in and wanted to know if there were exercises they could do to strengthen their own gifts and abilities as far as their mediumship or psychic abilities. Okay, and for me, I'll tell you what has always worked for me. I'm going to start with the lesser first and go up to the main thing. Okay, so one thing I always recommend is transfixing. When you're starting to, when you're newly developed, you're in the early stages of development and communication with spirit. I always encourage people when they're done with their meditation, which is key. Okay, when they're done with the meditation, to find a spot on a wall, preferably a clear wall, a light wall, like a beige or a white wall. Make sure there's no movement on either side of you because you want no distraction. You want to transfix on a spot on the wall. And by transfixing and just gazing constantly at this one place, very often people who have the gift of clairvoyance or even people who don't realize they have this ability, they begin to see. And what you see first is color. And usually the first color that people see is purple. And that's the God connection because that's all in spirit, all is of God's love and light. So that's the first color that usually people see. So again, you just find a clear wall. You know, if you don't have a wall that doesn't have a lot of color in it, if you don't have a white or a beige wall, you can hang a white sheet or a beige sheet. And again, you just transfix on that one spot for like 10-15 minutes after you're done with your prayer and meditation time. And just stare, and eventually you'll start to see. Sometimes it happens the first time you do it. Sometimes I have people who say, oh my God, I've been doing this for months, I don't see anything. Then all of a sudden they begin to see. Okay, and usually, like I say, they see color. So it depends on what your gifts and abilities are, how strong they are, as to what you'll see or when you see or if you'll see. Okay, so that's one exercise that I recommend, which is very good. Another thing that's really, really important is to form strong relationships with your five main guides, your spirit guides. And that you can find in the book, who your guides are. I know I spoke about them here, but the book, So You Want to Be a Medium, which is written by my friend and colleague, Rose Van den Enden. And that's the title, So You Want to Be a Medium. That's a wonderful book. I call it the Bible of Mediumship. It's a fantastic, I say use it as a workbook. So, you know, when you get the book, you'll read it cover to cover, but then you'll go back to the beginning. And I always say to my students, now work it like a workbook. In between our classes, go through that book and use it as a workbook. And Rose has a lot of exercises in there as well. Let me see, I wrote some things down here. What else? Oh, psychometry. Psychometry is another thing. Psychometry is when you hold an object that belonged to someone who's in spirit and you tap in on their energy. Now, this can be a gift maybe that they gave to you and holds their energy. As long as they touch this, it holds their energy. That's the way energy works. Or you can look at a picture of someone in spirit. That's in spirit. Connect it with someone who brought this picture to you and bring in information according to what you receive by looking at the picture or holding something that has their energy on it. That's called psychometry. And that's a great way to practice. You can say to 4 or 5 friends, all give me something or pictures. And then just write down everything that you receive when, after meditation. Just write down everything that comes in. And then you'll see whether or not, you're actually connecting with spirit and how much of the stuff is credible and how much isn't. Psychometry is a very strong exercise to do, so I really recommend that. I do psychometry in my center. I will say to people, if there's someone specific that you want to connect with, make sure I tell my people who book my readings, make sure you tell them to bring an article that they touched or held, or a picture or something like that, okay? And then, of course, the most important is prayer and meditation. That's key. That's really key to everything is prayer and meditation. If you meditate every day, if you make that part of your daily routine, then your connection with spirit will become stronger and stronger and stronger. Okay, so that's key. That's number one is prayer and meditation. Of course, also doing readings, which, you just talk to a friend and say, would you mind if, I connect with your grandmother who's in spirit every day, and I just write down some information she gives me, and once a week I'll just tell you what came in. So by doing that, actually, you're doing a reading every day. So, it's just simple little things that you can do. But if you get that book, So You Want to Be a Medium by Rose Van den Enden, that gives you a lot of exercises as well. Okay, so that's just a few. That's what I would recommend. And I hope that answers your question. And as always, I leave you in God's love and light.